Kevin. He drove out to Utah to see my mom and had a little adventure with one of his kids. And he's been making his way back across country, and he comes home sometime this afternoon. So last night he called me from the road. And this is what he does when he's traveling by himself. He'll call me and I'll say, "Where are you?" And he'll say, "I'm on like Interstate 40 and I'm 108 miles west of Gallup, New Mexico. Can you find me a place to stay?" Okay, well, you mean like in Gallup, New Mexico? Yeah, in Gallup, New Mexico. So I open up booking.com and I put in Gallup, New Mexico, and I tell him, all right, because he likes to stay right on the interstate. I like to stay in motels called El Yonder Ranchero that are about 50 miles off the highway and operated by Norman Bates and his mother. Kevin likes to stay in a reputable chain hotel right off the interstate between a Walmart Supercenter and a McDonald's, okay? Because he likes to be efficient when he travels. So, because he's been doing this now for so long, he's become a fan of certain chain hotels. And his current favorite is True by Hilton. And it's like a budget version of a Hilton. You get in, you get out. It's really like, it's designed
I've
for
seen
like
them.
millennials. Yeah. They have like foosball tables and whatnot. I stayed at a True hotel in Lamar City one time when I was moving my daughter into school. And after I got back to that True hotel and had myself a good cry and a long shower, I went to bed. And one of the other True hotel guests, their car alarm went off all night long, and the front desk could not figure out what to do about it. So we all just suffered. So I'm not quite as big a fan, even though it's not True Hotel's fault. So I put him up at the Comfort Inn off of Interstate 40 in Gallup, New Mexico, and that goes pretty well. Last night he calls me, and he's right about to cross the Oklahoma state line into Arkansas. And I know from experience with him that in between the cities in Arkansas, there's not a lot. Like there's some hotels in Fort Smith, and then there's a ton of stuff in Little Rock. But you get you some small towns, like Interstate 40 drives through empty countryside for a long time in Arkansas. The last time he called me, I found him a place to stay, and it was a former Days Inn that had been purchased by a family. It was no longer a Days Inn, and they thought they'd hipster it up by painting it black, the entire outside of the hotel. I didn't know this. I can't tell this on the internet. The entire outside of the hotel is painted black. And then in the inside, they went with like kind of a patchouli head shop vibe. So that was very strange. So he doesn't want to stay there again. So he calls me last night and he's like, I'm right over. This is marriage, by the way. I'm getting ready to cross the Oklahoma state line. I don't think I'm going to make it all the way to Little Rock. I'm starting to get tired, but I want to go further than Fort Smith. Where can you find me someplace to stay between Fort Smith and Little Rock? Kids, this should be a question on the SATs. If Kevin is driving from Oklahoma and too tired to make it to Little Rock, but doesn't want to stop in Fort Smith, where should he stay? Well, I'm like, all right, I don't have the state of Arkansas memorized. So I put him on hold and I pull up a map of Arkansas on my phone and I'm studying it and I'm looking at the names of these towns. And sometimes you can tell by the town name whether or not there's going to be anything, like even a gas station off the interstate. So I say, how about Russellville? How about Russellville, Arkansas? It's in between Fort Smith and Little Rock. And look, there's a Comfort Inn. And there's a pause. And he goes, you know, I like True by Hilton.
Oh, you're not going to find that there.
No, he did not.
You're not going to find that there. No.
Oh, do you, my bougie prince? Do you like True by Hilton? I said, I know you like True by Hilton. And if you want to stay at a True by Hilton, you have to go to a city that people have heard of. You cannot stop in Duck Lip, Arkansas and expect to find a True by Hilton. He goes, I just don't understand what it is with you and the Comfort Inns. I didn't build them along the interstate, nor did I throw in a Cracker Barrel. It's just what is available.
Bob and Sheri books, swag, and the mother of all mothers merch. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
Lamar was sharing with us before the show started his exciting weekend plans. And I would love for you to tell everybody what you and Carla got going on this weekend.
Well, if anybody listens to the show very much, they know at least once a year, Carl and I go down to Tuscaloosa to an Alabama game with Looney, my brother-in-law, Carla's brother. And so we're getting ready to go down after we get through the show today. We're going to hit the road and we're going on down to Alabama, and we'll hook up with Looney at his house because he's got the big motorhome. So we'll hop in the motorhome. And he's taking his little girl, Charlie. She's 11. And we're taking her cousin from Mississippi, who's the same age. Her name's Chigger. And so it's going to be us and Looney and Charlie and Chigger. And we're headed to Alabama to see the Crimson Tide play. So we're pretty excited about it.
Making those names.
I'm gonna need to know more about Chigger. Because Looney is an unusual nickname, right? But it's kind of like Madcap. Chigger is just like there's no positive to being a Chigger. How did Chigger get this nickname?
Well, when Charlie was a little girl, Carla, my wife, she started calling her Bug, and so Carla still calls her Bug every once in a while. But now that she's 11, she's really wants to be called Charlie. But so when they picked him, they went to Panama City Beach with us this last year, and they stayed with us. And so Chigger came, and her actual name is Alex. But by the time she got to the house, when Looney introduced her, she said, "This is Chigger." And I said, "Why do you call her Chigger?" He said, "If you know how irritating a Chigger can be. If you'd rode 7 hours with her in the car with Charlie, you'd understand why I'm calling her Chigger." I mean, because and so, but they're 11 years old. They're girls of fashion. They're girls of. I mean, when we got down to the beach, Looney told me, he said, "Come here, look in this bathroom." And they had their own room and had their own bathroom. It looked like a display case for Ulta. And if anybody doesn't know what Ulta is, if you're a woman, you know what Ulta is. It is the ultimate makeup situation. They had every possible face cleanser, face astringent, face cream. I mean, you name it, they had it. I mean, this is hundreds of dollars worth of this stuff, man. I mean, they're little fashion girls, but yeah. And Chigger, she's sharp as a tack. She's funny, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
Here's the good news for Chigger's parents, who I know are financing Mr. and Mrs. Chigger, who were financing this Ulta habit when Karamia was younger. The child had a skincare routine that rivaled one of the Real Housewives of Orange County. The amount of specialized care, not just time, but technique. Like the amount of time this child spent cleaning her face. And then she slowly but surely outgrew it. Still washes her face, still takes care of herself, does not have the expensive Ulta habit anymore. So hopefully Chigger will move through this chapter.
Well, most of these girls figure out if they're going to kick the Ulta habit, they got to do it before they get out on their own, and they have to start paying for it. Therein lies the deal.
Instant access to the podcast, fun size, and more with the free Bob and Sheri app.
A dating site in Great Britain asked some of their customers, what are the biggest dating turnoffs? And so, Sheri, I'm going to give them to you. And I want you to pick one that would make you get up from your seat, excuse yourself to go to the ladies' room, and then walk out into the parking lot and drive away. Okay? So this is either the first or the second date. These are the biggest turnoffs. Smoking, bad dress sense, arriving late, poor oral hygiene, excessive phone use, and chewing loudly. Also bad breath. Which of those gets you up out of your seat and into your car surreptitiously?
Well, it's not going to be
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? How in the heck would you get in the seat the first place if all this is going on?
If you had all this going on, yeah.
Well, I mean, it could have been, you're online, right? The guy's put up a picture and it looks all right, He's not smoking, right? He's not chewing, while he's up there. Which one gets you out the door the most?
It's definitely not getting there late because sometimes things happen and people can't help it.
Right.
And it's definitely not excessive phone use because he might have a reason. It might be his kids or his job
You
or
can
whatever.
tell. See, that's
But I'm
mine.
hoping he's explaining that. He's like he said,
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. This is
Yeah.
a business call or something like that.
Exactly.
So we're okay there. We're okay there.
So the one that is a deal breaker for me, I mean, I'm not going to climb out the bathroom window and run home and hide, but there won't be a second date. And I don't want anybody that does this to feel any kind of way because it's a free world. But for me, smoking would be the thing. That would be
That's
good.
number
Would
one.
be for me too. It would be for me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
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 And
I
that's your
feel like I
business.
can
And I
work
got friends
with
that
you.
smoke and they love it,
Yeah.
and that's great. But this is not.
I feel like I can work with you on some of the other stuff, but let's say this ends up going the distance. You're going to want to smoke in the house where I live, and I'm not going to want you to do that. You're going to want to smoke in the car.
Would you let
I'm not
them?
going to want you to do that.
How about out on the deck? If they're smoking out on the deck, are you good with
No.
that?
I don't
No.
want to kiss you. I don't
Nope.
want.
Yeah.
I don't like the
Suppose
smell.
They're
Yeah.
vaping and not smoking.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No. If you're going to do something, smoke. Don't vape. don't be vaping. Come on, man. Don't smoke.
I'm just asking.
No.
Well, now we're going to look at what are we vaping, Chief? What is
I don't
What is
care.
that?
I don't care. I don't care.
Because
if you're going to
couldn't
vape, if you no,
Couldn't
no
you
vape.
overlook the vaping as long as
Nope.
they're not smoking because they don't have all that smell and the negative things?
Oh,
that
they do
they're-
have a smell. It smells like an ice cream cone. One of them. It's.
Oh, you wouldn't want to kiss an ice cream cone?
Nope. I would not. No. And as far
So
as the
Lamar
dressing
feels
bad goes,
strongly. Wow.
see, Sheri doesn't care if you dress bad because if she actually dates you for any time, she's going to dress you. She's going to straighten you out in the fashion
yeah.
world. Are you not?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
fix that.
So a
Yeah.
woman's
I
going
never worry about that.
Yeah. Listen.
They do
I
that.
never
How do you
dress for
how do you
myself.
straighten out chewing loudly? How do you straighten out chewing loudly?
Oh no, I'm
mean,
out. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Or chewing ice. As soon as you put an ice cube in your mouth and you bite down on it, oh, baby.
Suppose you're hearing impaired. You could overlook that then because you're not hearing it.
But I'm not hearing impaired, and I'm not going to put earplugs in my ears so you can chew ice. I'm just telling you. Listen. If we're going down the road, and there's 6 people. Luckily, none of us are ice chewers. I've never heard nobody chew ice. If we're going down the road and somebody starts chewing ice, I got to pull over. So one of us is getting out. One of us has got to get out. I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I want to talk about the excessive phone use for a moment. Now, I know what you're saying. If somebody's got a kid and the kid has the flu or something and you want to stay on top of it, or there's a family member or there's something at work. But Lamar is right. You better explain that up front. Because I got to tell you, there are people that are so addicted to that phone that even on a date, they're going to, the phone will be there and they're looking at you talking and you can see their eyes go down to the phone.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
This dating service that came up with the biggest dating turnoffs. And they include excessive phone use during the date, chewing loudly, bad breath, bad dress sense. Guys, she's probably really thought about what she's wearing, and you show up with a Big Johnson t-shirt from 20 years ago. That's not a good thing. Smoking, arriving late, also were featured high on the list, and also poor oral hygiene. Are there any others? And can I express once again why the excessive phone use is just so annoying to me?
Yeah.
I don't want to be with somebody that needs that kind of stimulation constantly. My wife is on the phone a lot, but when we go out to dinner, she didn't even bring it. You know, we want to talk to one another. When we want to watch a movie together, which is not frequently, there are no phones that are available. And I think it takes me back to one evening where my ex and I were invited out to dinner to this really fancy country club that I'd never been to before. I met some guy and he pressured me to go to the country club with a woman that he was dating. He was an older guy. And the ex said, I hear the food there is amazing. Let's just go. So in we went, and we're in this fancy, fancy dining room. He is situated where he can see the whole room, and I'm across the table from him. And all night long, I would engage him in conversation about, golf or whatever. And he'd look at me, but then he would look past my ear, just kind of scanning who else is in the room, who just came in. Is there somebody that, a more important person than me? And that doesn't take a lot. He was doing that all night long. I tell you, I almost stood up and said, thanks a lot. I'm going to pass on the chicken. You take it home. It drove me crazy. And I'm not the only person that this has happened to. Queen Elizabeth, there was a comment that she made prior to her death, where she was with an American politician, entertaining this politician. And I am not going anywhere with names right now. But this politician sat next to her at an event and started looking over Elizabeth's shoulder to see who else was coming in there. If you're with the freaking Queen of England, who are you looking for in Great Britain that's going to top that?
So you're equating not being interesting enough for that person with the phone being the technical version of that, right? You're saying that if you're with me, I should be the thing that gets your attention, not somebody else in the room or the phone. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
No, I don't either.
I don't disagree with that. I'm a bit of like a doormat in the sense that I'm always looking for what's this person's story? Like, why are they acting this way? Maybe there's something happening that is driving this behavior, and maybe I shouldn't be so quick to judge. Now, let me say that it is my dream, my wish, my desire, and my goal to never go on another date as long as I'm alive on this earth in this body. Like, I never, ever want to have that experience again, no matter what. But if I did, and that person was doing what you're saying, at this point, I'm not going to hang around for that. I'm going to excuse myself and leave.
If they're doing that early on, it's not going to be getting better. And you're training them. Maybe you could train because with clothing, because some guys just have no sense of clothing whatsoever. Maybe that could work out. But the other things, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse because they're giving you their best side, or they should be.
Well, they should be. I mean, it doesn't always go that way, right? We know that.
That's true.